All right, everybody, welcome back to the Overwatch Collective Podcast with Greg. This is Season 9, Episode 6. I'm here with Ben and Cindy all the way from Fort Worth, Texas. It's actually not too far from Louisiana. We might only be like 6 or 7 hours, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right? All right, cool. I appreciate you guys coming on. How we doing? You guys excited?
Good.
Doing good.
Yeah, sweet. I'm excited to get into this episode. Ben being prior Navy corpsman, working with the lovely devil dogs that cause all the trouble. I'm sure we'll get into that. Did 5 years active, then 4 years in the reserves. And then we'll talk about some substance misuse and post-traumatic stress, and then ultimately leading to finding his better half, who now have been married for the past 8 years. So we get the service member side of things, and then we get the spouse significant other side of things, which is really cool. So looking forward to getting into this. But first, I'm going to mention our therapy statistics and our sponsor, Russ and Iron Clothing Company. I'll start with them. Firefighter founded. All the proceeds or not all the proceeds, 20% of the proceeds from merchandise sales come to the Overwatch Collective to continue to fund therapy. Super cool. They're out right now. They're setting up a new shop. They're doing some really big things. So everybody, if you're listening to this, go check out Russ and Iron Clothing Company. They help us pay for therapy, which I have updated therapy statistics. So as of, August 26th, we have spent $297,891 on therapy costs, 2,921 therapy sessions, either fully covered or financially assisted. And then 271 people have gone through the Overwatch Collective that get connected to our competent and vetted therapists across the country, which is amazing. So we're almost at that $300,000 mark, which is, I think it's going to be a very big accomplishment, since we didn't really know this was ever going to be this big, So, but cool, very rewarding, and we appreciate everybody for your support. So that's enough of an intro. That's enough of me blabbering away. Cindy, Ben, can you guys take it away? Introduce yourself really quick, and then we'll kind of go from there.
I'm Ben. This is my wife, Cindy. I spent 5+ years on active duty, most of that with the Marine Corps, and then got out, went back in reserves, and deployment schedule just got crazy when I went to the reserves.
I'm Cindy. I'm Ben's wife. I met Ben after he got out of the military. And we have traveled a very interesting and difficult path, but we've saw the light at the end of the tunnel. So,
got it. Awesome. Well, number one, I just want to start with saying thank you both for coming on. Obviously, like everybody else that comes on the podcast, it's a majority of the time it's talking about post-traumatic stress, a suicide attempt, and everybody really does come on here because they're like, hey, I don't want people to be like Greg was, like if I can share my story, maybe that'll help them in the future, where they can be like, oh, I listened to Greg on that podcast, and this is what he did, and his life kind of went downhill. And he's like, I just don't want anybody to be like me, or I want people to thrive after their service in the military or as a first responder. So definitely want to just start off by saying thank you. It's really cool when we get stories like this and people on where we have guests that listen and they reach out and they're like, hey, that was really helpful. So just start off with that. So we appreciate you guys coming on. Ben, can we talk a little bit about your military service before we kind of get into things? So
Yeah.
What made you join the Navy and want to be a corpsman?
I was already an EMT before I went in. I was a volunteer firefighter, liked medicine, and okay, this is a route that I can go further with that. Joined the Navy, went through basic medic school, then got informed, you're not actually in the Navy now, you're in the Marine Corps. I got sent to Camp Pendleton to go through another school just to be able to be accepted there.
Got it.
And it was a shock, but ended up loving every minute of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what year was this? This might be dated, I'm sorry. I know.
99 is when I went in.
99. Okay. All right. So then you went through the Corpsman Medic School in Camp Pendleton, and
Yeah.
then upon successful completion of that, which Marine Corps unit were you assigned to?
I went to first FSSG, First Service Support Group. I went to their medical battalion
Okay.
and stayed there 8-9 months before I got picked up to go on with the 11th MU to go on deployment.
Got it. Okay. Where was that deployment to?
Middle East.
Okay. All right. And
Uh,
how was doing the Mew, being on the boat, going all over different port to port? How was that experience for you?
uh, really good. I got picked up by EOD to be their medic, and uh, it was just doing sit call in the morning and PT with them all afternoon or whatever training they want to do. And, ship life. It's just
Mm-hmm.
never ending, same old, same old.
Yeah, yeah. And so back, 25 years ago, being on ship during the Mew, how was mental health back then? Was it accepted? Was it talked about? Is it anything like it is now, or
Oh,
kind of?
it not talked about.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing.
Didn't happen.
Yeah. Oh, you had a bad day. Okay, get over it.
Yeah, change your socks and
Mm-hmm.
move on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that things are changing and definitely getting better for our community. So you do the 11th MU, you go to the Middle East, and then did you do multiple deployments as a Navy corpsman while you were active? Was that just your first?
Just the one. I came back, got off that deployment, popped my shoulder out real bad, had to have surgery. They taught me into going to a clinic for a while, and probably the worst mistake I ever made. But I I got put in charge of an immunization clinic
Okay.
at a little branch medical center.
Okay.
On an active duty base, immunizations is a really gravy job. I mean, you just, okay, you're due for your tetanus, you're due for this, At a little bitty clinic, it's all 2-week-old, 1-month-old infants that you're giving shots to. And so you don't go, an hour without, hearing a baby squealing because you just hurt them.
Gotcha. A little different than working with military members on a boat where it's like lift up your arm, jab, and then you're out.
Yeah. If the Marine cries, you laugh, and
Yeah. All right. And then is that how you ended out your active duty contract?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. And how was it getting off of active duty and transitioning into the reserves?
It was I had some dealings with the reserve, so I had a little bit of idea what was going on, but it was much different than what I thought. It was really, I don't know how my name got up into whoever, but I'm assuming they just did a search and okay, he's an FMF corpsman, and pulled my name out of the hat.
Got it.
But I would get a phone call and say, okay, you need to report here and you're going to Haiti. 4 days later, where I drilled at would find out about it, and then they would be, okay, why are you there? Well, I was told to report here. And when I didn't go ask permission, after I'd been told something and I didn't go back and ask permission, it got real sketchy.
Got it. So, and how many deployments did you do while you were in the reserve for that 4-year time frame?
3.
Okay. And where'd you go?
Once to Haiti, and then 2 years to a college training ship out of New York.
Okay.
To be there.
How was that? Be out in New York for a deployment? Was that kind of cool?
Yeah. Trying to go spend a week or so up there getting ready, and then get on like I said, it belonged to the college. So you get on their ship, it's 600 and some foot long, just like any other ship, and it's filled full of college kids, and you take off for 3 months. And we went to Europe both times.
Oh, that doesn't sound that bad.
No, it wasn't that bad.
No, I like that for you. All
Yeah.
right, so Haiti, New York, you did that, and then
Mhm.
well, you said there was one more.
I did that twice.
Oh, you did it twice. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, perfect, sweet. So you were a busy reservist, huh?
Yeah. I stayed deployed more in the reserves than I did active duty.
Yeah, crazy how that works, huh? Crazy.
And I think it's just my name got brought up once, and then it was on somebody's radar.
Yeah.
And he'll go if you give him 4 days notice. And yeah.
Got it. And I'm sure you were doing a fantastic job, and they were like, Ben,
Mhm.
you're going,
Yeah.
Yeah. Sweet. All right. Very cool. And then what made you get out of the reserves and not re-up, or were you just kind of like done, or how were you feeling?
It was the lack of communication between my command was actually, they call it a ghost command.
Okay.
It was on paper out of New York, out of Chicago, I think, but I reported out of Millington. And well, when Chicago would say jump, okay, yeah, let's go. And then by the time Millington found out about it, they were mad at me for going without asking permission. Yeah. So
Right.
it just the conflict between that, it just got to the point where I'm done with it. I'm tired of arguing with it.
Mm-hmm. Got it. No, that makes sense.
It didn't make any sense to me. That's what maybe it's time to move on.
Yeah. And then when you got out, what did you do?
I went to I just basically got burnt out on medicine, and went to aviation maintenance school and became an aircraft mechanic.
All right. And what aircraft did you work on, or what types of aircraft?
I do general aviation. I do small Cessnas, Pipers, Beechcraft.
All right, cool. Sweet. Anything else to add before I get Cindy in on this?
No, go ahead.
No. Good. All right, Cindy, how we doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I am fantastic. Thank you very much. I appreciate you sitting there for the last 7 minutes while we kind of go through the military background and everything.
No problem.
We appreciate the patience, but now it is finally your turn. So, obviously, so you guys been married for the past 8 years. You met Ben post his military service. So,
That's right.
I kind of want to touch on, or actually, first, do you have any experience, friends, family members that were in the military that you kind of heard had problems with negative coping mechanisms or post-traumatic stress? Was there anything like that?
I don't have family that had any issues, but I do have a military family background. My dad was actually in the Army, and he was stationed in Korea during the Korean War. So, but he was fortunate that he wasn't frontline. So,
Okay. All right. So you had a little bit of knowledge, right? So you're not going into a relationship with Ben just completely blind and be like, I have no idea what the military does.
no, and I have a medical background. So, when I started seeing some of the things, I knew immediately
Gotcha.
what was going on.
All right. And Ben, obviously thankful to have Cindy to be able to recognize those things, right? We'll get into that.
That she put up with me that long, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, Cindy, talk to me a little bit when, with your experience in the medical background, with your dad being in the military, and then obviously, just like everybody, like can kind of see some of the signs. Like I kind of feel like, when you first started dating, talking to Ben, what were you kind of seeing?
When we very first started dating and talking, I didn't see anything. I think being in the military, I think whether you have a medical background, military background, first responder background, I think everybody has that place where you can kind of compartmentalize. And so I think he did a very good job of compartmentalizing that. I never saw it. We, right about the time that we had something kind of traumatic happen, that kind of brought it full circle, is when I was like, probably a few days before, I'm kind of questioning. I'm like, is there something going on? Like, what am I missing? Could it be this? Could it be that? And then, quite frankly, kind of what slapped me in the face with it was he had been at my house and had run out. He's like, I'll be back in about an hour. I was like, great. And he just didn't come back. And I was like, what is going on? And I would try to call him and his phone he didn't answer, would roll to voicemail. Long story short, about 5 hours later, about 4 or 5 hours later, I call him and the police answer. And I was like, oh my gosh, like what has happened? And they were asking me who I was and why I was calling. And he had pulled up at a light and just blacked out. Like he was there, but he wasn't there.
Got it.
And he knew his name. He did not know where he was. He said the president was Reagan. He just lost it. And he was having he just had a mental breakdown with it. And went to the hospital, and short version, went into for about 6 weeks, went into a treatment facility for mental health, like for to help work with like PTSD. It was actually through the VA to help work, through the mental health aspect. And so, I mean, it just kind of came full circle for us just immediately.
Okay.
When I started seeing it and I started questioning it, it was just a few days later that all this kind of came about.
Okay. So it wasn't those things that like you saw some of the signs and it was building up, like it hit.
Right. And I think it's because he could compartmentalize when we were dating and we were together. But then, like, he had his own home. Like, he went home. I had a teenage son. So, we had our separate lives. And when we were together, we had a great time. But I didn't see everything. It wasn't day in, day out.
Yeah, which makes sense when you just start dating, right? And you're living separately. And Ben, so number one, thankfully you didn't wreck your vehicle. Thankfully you didn't get into a collision, hurt yourself or anything, and you were at a light, and then first responders were able to get there to assist you to get into the treatment.
Yeah.
It seems like things were kind of building up, but for something big to happen, to be like, hey, this is a problem, this is what's going on that I need to work on. It to me, it almost seems like it happened in a pretty good way where nobody was injured, right? And like that. So, so Ben, from your point of view, when that was going on, when you first started dating Cindy, were you compartmentalizing? Were you hiding some of the feelings that you were feeling? Were you wearing a mask?
Yeah. And my thing was, I couldn't calm down, and I was keep that, at bay when I was around her.
Yeah, you hit it well.
And I couldn't sleep. And, after 2 days without sleep, okay, I need a drink.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that, woohoo, anything. It was, if I can drink, X amount, that'll put me to sleep, and I can sleep through the night.
And that's kind of what I started seeing, and I started questioning, because, when I would see that and I would think, he's drinking more than like a normal person probably would drink. And we would socially, we would go out with our friends and like, socially drink, and he was completely fine. But then I would see on the side behind closed doors, things that made me question, is this a relationship that I should be in?
Yeah.
Is there something going on that's causing this? Like what's going on? And that was about 2 or so weeks before you just cracked.
Yeah.
Was that before that incident?
Yes, yes.
That was before. Okay, got it. Yeah, and I'm not surprised to hear that you were good with masking it, hiding it, and everything, because that's our culture, right? And
Yeah.
it's getting better. I feel like with the way that mental health is going, but um, I mean, 20, 25 years ago, military and as a first responder, you're not going to sit there and be like, "Hey, I'm having problems. I've been drinking a lot. Like, I need resources." Like, that's not really a thing. And then we're taught to be like, change your socks, like, suck it up,
Mm-hmm.
buttercup, where you're
Yeah.
supposed to be the big bad tough dude. Well, it's great for war fighting and being in the military and all that stuff, but there's no awareness, there's no training as you transition out, or actually being like a good husband, a good father, and um, any sort of like awareness or resources to be able to live a successful life after. So um, I hear this all the time on the podcast, and obviously being a police officer in the military, like I see it all the time. And alcohol, substance misuse is the most common because it's in every single household. It's so easy to get, and yeah, you drink and it'll put you to sleep, but when you wake up, I'm sure you had hangovers, you weren't feeling well, you weren't exercising. Exercising is good for our mental health and all that.
Yeah.
So, um, I just went on a little tangent there. I apologize, but
It's
uh,
fine.
but
It's a
yeah,
great fix until it's not.
yeah, exactly, yeah. Um, and so that was 2 weeks before the incident, right, where you started
Mm-hmm.
recognizing some of these. And then Cindy, you mentioned you're like, hey, is this a relationship that I even want to be in? So kind of talk to me a little bit about recognizing some of those signs and kind of having that the hair on the back of your neck stick up and be like, okay, this isn't really normal. And then you have the big incident. Like, what kept you in the relationship, or what was
for,
going on?
for that couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Um, During that couple of weeks, I would see our family laughs and calls him now. We call him Ben 2.0. So we would laugh, I would see the moments of like 2.0 of like real Ben.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would see these moments that were not healthy, and I knew something was wrong. He had I already knew he had some trauma in his life. Like he had lost his brother, he had lost his niece in car accidents. So I didn't know if that was related to what was going on, and he was starting to drink because of that. I didn't know if he had been drinking for a long time or if this was something new. I really didn't know. I was trying to kind of get to the bottom of it because I'm like, okay, if it's alcohol and we can treat this and move on, then it was a relationship I wanted to stay in. Um, you know, he had my heart. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but if it wasn't, then I needed to step back. I that During that 2 week period, I was just kind of treading water, just trying to see kind of what was what,
Mm-hmm.
and was it circumstantial? Was it not? Um, and then that happened, and I knew at that point that he was somebody worth fighting for, and there was a reason that he was that way. It wasn't like a choice that he's like, hey, I just want to get drunk every night.
Yeah. 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 And then, so Ben, during this time, how were you feeling? Like, did you know it was a problem, and that it, like, if Cindy found out, she was going to potentially think about leaving you?
Oh
Or,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I
yeah,
mean, it was that okay. You know, I feel awful for doing it. You know, but how can I? Where is the spot where I feel normal?
mm-hmm.
And haven't felt this way. I felt that way in so long I didn't even know where it was anymore. And you know, okay, cut back, or where does you go from feeling just awful to just even half-ass human, and not even to I feel good. Just that point of all right, I'm surviving.
You
Mm-hmm.
can function.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. No, I appreciate you sharing that. Um, and I'm glad that you had Cindy with you by your side during this, because like what goes to my mind first is thinking about those service members that are having those same feelings, but they don't have their brothers and sisters with them
Mm-hmm.
anymore, right? And they don't have a significant other like Cindy that cares about you. That's like, oh, I think something's going on. Let me take care of you. Let me start putting the dropping the seed down to be able to get you on the path of healing. And like with us and what we do, that's where I just start to see like you start to see going down the roller coaster and then unfortunately leading to death by suicide or something along the
Yeah.
lines of that. So so thankfully you had Cindy there with you to be able to help you through this time and get you out of it. Um, and let's see. So after the incident where you were in the hospital with VA after having the episode, kind of walk me through the timeline after that for both of you, whichever one wants to start. But what did the progression kind of look like?
Many, many, many drugs. We went down the path. I mean, that's basically it. It went from leaving the VA to trying to go back to a normal life, whatever a normal life is. Work, therapy, doctor's appointments, work, therapy, meds. And that was our life for another 6 years.
Yeah.
Another 6 years.
I would go through the VA until they would, well, we're going to try this. I've already had that. That didn't work.
Or they wanted to cycle back around and start over because these were the only meds we can give you.
And
then we did our private insurance.
Yeah, then, okay, well, let me not mess with the VA and I'll go through private insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And, bounce around with that. And then ended up going back to the VA and,
it was a cycle, a vicious cycle.
Yeah. And
a vicious, non-successful cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that sucks to hear, right? So, and that's kind of the common thing that we hear with the VA, right? And I don't want to badmouth the VA or anything.
No. I mean, there
are good people that work at the VA. They try to do their best, everything. But to kind of hear that, where you're like, it was a cycle, and then you had to try private insurance, and then you had to go back to the VA. Like, well, once again, I'm kind of thinking of somebody in our community that's struggling, that's trying to do the right thing to take care of themselves, but can't even do that because of the resources.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm trying to put myself in your shoes, and same for you, Cindy, like how frustrating it is, right? And like you being like, oh my God, my dad was in the military. You did all this time. Like, why can't they take care of you? All right, fine. Let's go through private insurance. It had to be kind of frustrating.
It was. I think it got to the point for Ben. I mean, and you correct me if I'm wrong. I think it got to the point for Ben that he literally had just given up. And for years, he was like, just deal with it. Like, just tell me what I'm supposed to take in the morning, and here's my shot glass full of meds.
Mm-hmm.
And he would take them. And he'd say, okay, maybe I'm doing better. And then we go through cycles where he wasn't doing better, and we'd have to tweak things. It became just a struggle, and he was just like, tell me what to take. Like, tell me what to take, tell me where to go and where to be. Like, I'm just over it. It was just, is that a fair statement? Like, you just felt like there was no end. And, I think if somebody doesn't, like we're talking about the people in the community, like if you don't have a significant other, or you don't have a brother, sister, parent, somebody that's willing to advocate for you and willing to fight for you, that's a huge thing. Because I think, like in what I saw, Ben couldn't fight for himself. Yeah. He was so mentally over it that he couldn't advocate for himself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, at one point, I know I'm kind of jumping ahead, and I don't mean to, but at one point, like before we decided to do what we did, we went down a path, and he had 92 different medications in different dosages, but 92 separate medications over a 2-year period. Like, I have a binder of what we've tried and what dosages before we came to the realization of what worked for us.
Yeah, that's wild. And Ben, you're going to add some?
Yeah, and what the nail in the coffin was, okay, we've tried these 90 plus meds. Okay, well, we're going to start you back on the top of the list.
Yeah.
We've already been through this, but we're going to start you over on this again. See if it works. And I'm like, no, I don't know what I want to do, but that doesn't.
Yeah.
And, you know.
He got to the point that you were so angry and so frustrated and just so over it that he was like, just put me in treatment and take me off of everything. Like, just get me off everything and let's just start over.
And they said, well, you'll have to go to inpatient. That's fine.
He's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, he'd have done anything to get well, like at that point. But we didn't have to do that.
And the meds I was on, I put on 60 or 70 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah. And that came to a head and went for normal yearly physical. And they said, hey, your cholesterol's out of hand. Okay, well, I can change that. And immediately changed our diet and, you know, and weight started falling off again. But yeah, it was just that point of, okay, I've tried all this and nothing's working. You know, now what do I do?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I kind of want to ask you like a little hypothetical question. Imagine Cindy's out of the picture, right? Unfortunately, bye Cindy for now. Cindy's out of the picture and you have to deal with this by yourself. How do you think that process would have gone?
Oh, I had those thoughts anyway. I mean, it was, do I want to live the rest of my life like this?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know.
You had those with me.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had that discussion.
Yeah. And never anything concrete where there was a plan, but it was, all right, do I want to live the rest of my life like this, always in either drugged into a stupor or, you know, angry at everything, you know, and can't concentrate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's understandable to think that way too. Like I totally get that, especially when you're like, if you're by yourself and you're taking 90 different pills and you have to track that and then you're gaining weight and then you're not feeling well and then you're still drinking with them. You don't have anybody there to support you. You do all this time in the military, 9+ years, and sacrifice a lot for this country, and then you don't get it's very easy to kind of see like, oh, this is a recipe for disaster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know? And then Cindy, you mentioned that you guys have had that conversation about potential suicidal ideations or thinking like, I don't know if I'd be able to live like this. Do you mind elaborating on that a little bit?
Sure. In a nutshell, I mean, that's kind of it in a nutshell. I mean, like he would, you know, he's like, I just can't do this. Like, I can't live like this. And I'm like, are you having suicidal thoughts? And he's like, no. He's like, I don't want to because I know it would hurt you, hurt my mom, you know, it would hurt the family. And he's like, I'm not going to do it. He goes, but I can't say that I don't think about it on occasion. And he said, you know, even like when he was in the military, like when he was with the OD, he said, you know, I never dreamed I'd come back. He said, I lived my life like that. And he goes, I just didn't think I'd come back. And then he is back and he even has said, I didn't care about life. Like before us, like he's like, I didn't care what happened to me. Like I just didn't care. So I can very much see, you know, why it is the way that it is.
Got it. And so what would have helped? And Ben, I'll kind of start with you for now. What would have helped you during that time? If it wasn't for Cindy, right? Like, did you stay in contact with some of the buddies from the military? Did you have any external resources, any other like nonprofits or anything to kind of help you, or did you feel like you were kind of on your own?
It was where we were. I felt like I was, you know, isolated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I still had a few friends from the military, but they had their lives going, and you know, it wasn't my place to go and jump in the middle of theirs.
Yeah.
You know.
Gotcha. Got it. All right, cool. And where do we go from here? So, post incident, and then you two working together essentially, right, to get onto the path of healing. So let's continue. I don't know exactly where in the story we want to go, but I'll let y'all take it away.
It was that point where, okay, something has to give. And stumbled onto a podcast and started hearing about Ibogaine. And, okay, well, this sounds, promising. And started doing a lot of research into it. And I probably did research for a month or so before I ever even told her.
Yeah, I had no idea. None.
And
then he comes to me.
Yeah, then I go to her and I said, let's look at this.
Mm-hmm. And I said, are you nuts? I said, you have got to be insane. We are not doing this. And I was, and
go to Mexico for a drug? What
right.
the hell?
Yeah, it's a Schedule I drug, so It's not approved in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at him like he was nuts, and he's like, just read about it. And I was like, okay. And I looked, and I was like, no way. I was like, we're not doing this. I was like, I don't even know if you'll come home.
Yeah.
And he kind of laughed at me, and we put it on the back burner. And we agreed to kind of just set it on the back burner for a little bit, and let's see what happens with this new mix of medications that we're on.
Okay. So for those that may not know about it, right, going to Mexico, Schedule I drug, can you kind of elaborate just a little bit on it?
Okay. So do you want to elaborate, or you want me to do it? Okay. So Ibogaine it's a Schedule I in the U.S., but it is approved in Europe and Mexico. There's a facility in Mexico that he used in Tijuana. Can I say, I guess? MBO Life Sciences is actually where he went. Okay. They do a mixture of what this drug is called Ibogaine, and then they do 5-MeO-DMT, which is Ibogaine is from the Iboga plant. Mm-hmm. And then the 5-MeO-DMT is from it's a gland in a South African toad is actually the liquid that they extract. Okay. And it's a week-long process. I'll let him tell you about the actual treatment. But anyway, kind of how we got there was he fell into a depression. And like 3 days in bed, couldn't get him out. He would get up and eat and, use the bathroom and go back to bed. And I was like, this is not working. Yeah. And I remembered him talking about this. And we literally were at the end of our rope. I mean, like, we've tried ketamine, we've tried, you name it, we've tried it. I went down, it was one evening, it was about 7, 8 o'clock, and I started pulling the information that he sent me. And I went down a rabbit hole. It was like 4 a.m. when I was finally done. And I found studies from where Stanford had done studies on veterans with TBIs and PTSD, anxiety, depression, the whole bit. Like, you name it, like, he had it. And I'm like, he's a poster child for what these SEALs have been through. Mm-hmm. And I kept looking for the negative and in my rabbit hole search, and I couldn't find a negative. I mean, there was a very, very slight negative. And he woke up that morning and I said, I'm in. Let's do this. And he made a phone call a few days later because it was on a weekend. He made a phone call a few days later and got a call back like the next day, I think. Yeah. Like a day or so, it was within like a couple of days. They called back. They said, you've got to come off this, 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 and this. You got to be off of it for 2 weeks before you come. Done. And we went.
And basically, we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Got it. Okay.
And that was the hardest 2 weeks.
Wake up in the morning and apologize for what I was going to say during the day.
Yeah.
Just,
sorry in advance.
Just preemptive. I'm sorry right now. And yeah.
It was awful. It was the worst 2 weeks of our life to pull him off of all that because he literally was going through DTs. Yeah. And he was angry. And then he'd be angry and didn't know why he was angry. And then he was angry that he was angry because he didn't know why he was angry. I mean, it was just... Bless him. It was just a vicious cycle. It was awful.
Yeah. And then so you go down there for the treatment. What was the treatment process like?
We flew into San Diego.
Yeah. And get bussed down into Tijuana. And there's people that know a lot more about it, but your head kind of needs to be in the right spot when you take it.
Yes.
Got
You
it.
need to be at the end of your rope. You need to
Yeah.
be like, this is going to work, and it's the only thing left.
And they give you the Ibogaine, and it's just a pill form. I mean, it's nothing. And after taking it, there's no way anyone would ever get addicted to it, because it's the worst 24 to 36 hours of your life. You just, if your idea of fun is going and puking for 12 hours, yeah, it's not.
And some people did and some people didn't, right? I mean, like, it wasn't,
Yeah.
not everybody did.
I got sick 7 or 8 times. One of the guys with us carried a bucket around for 18 hours.
And some didn't get sick at all.
Yeah.
So it really just depends on, really just kind of depends on you.
But
you're hooked up to a heart monitor, and you're in a room. I think this is kind of what you're asking for, right?
Yeah. Anything.
Yeah. So
yeah, and
you're in a room with everybody else, and it's like a group of 5 or 6.
yeah, and there's this crazy music playing that there's no rhythm to it. It's just random chaos.
Okay.
And they say that's part of it. It gets your head in the right. I don't understand.
You get out of your head and into the music in some way, form, or fashion.
Okay. Trust the process.
But,
yeah.
But for 10, 12 hours there, what it really felt like is that when you've drank too much and you're right there at the edge of, I know I've drank too much and I want to sober up, is where that you stayed at.
Okay.
And I had just flashes of memories from just throughout my whole life. I mean, and they just played over and over and over. And I don't know that I ever slept during that 12 hours. I know I had to have, or think I do, but yeah. And next day felt absolutely awful. It's like, wasn't, it was, the being felt like you've been run over by a truck, just, and get over that. And the next day is the 5-MeO DMT. And all I'd ever, heard about it, the Ibogaine, they said, okay, it's going to block your neuroreceptors and force your mind to work through different branches. And then when it unblocks them, you've got more pathways between, your neuroreceptors for your mind to work, and it opens things up. Okay. Well, the DMT, all I'd ever heard was, okay, it's out of body experience. Okay. What it was for me was a hard reboot, computer reboot. I mean, when I took it, I felt a little bit of head rush, but not bad. But there was a pain, like in my stomach. And it just came out and all my breath went away. And it felt like I died. Could have been, 3 seconds. It could have been a minute and a half. I don't, it wasn't more than 10 or 15 seconds, I'm sure.
Okay.
And when I came out of it, I'm sure it lasted, less than a minute, the whole thing. It was like someone had taken sunglasses off my eyes. The colors were brighter. Everything was sharper.
Fruit tasted different.
Fruit tasted different.
Okay.
I chewed on a grape for about 4 or 5 minutes because I could taste the sweetness, the sour, the bitter and rind. All of it. And yeah.
Wow.
He literally came home because I took a picture of him the day he left, and when he came back, He literally came home and his eye color had changed. And yes,
Trippy.
and nobody believes me until they see the picture, and then they're like, "Oh my goodness!" But literally, like it just completely changed him. But everybody's experience is different. Like some people see like bright, like psychedelic colors. Some people relive their whole life. I mean, everybody has a different story of what like happened during Ibogaine.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Okay. And then after that, get back home. How was that experience for you? How did it go?
It took about a month or so,
Yeah.
like a good adjustment.
Yeah, just to adjust back to getting normal.
Well, you immediately, when he came home, he immediately felt different.
Yeah, I felt a lot better. And probably a month or so of just getting
Just into a routine.
yeah.
And, you know, it's interesting because they say that Ibogaine, like they also use it for like addiction treatment, you know, alcohol, drugs, the whole bit. But they say that it kills the opioid receptors in your brain. Well, he used smokeless tobacco every day. He came home without it and has never picked it back up. It literally kills that. It literally killed that receptor. So that addiction was gone.
Wild.
Yeah.
All right. So things were on the mend. They were going up.
Yeah.
All right. And then when was that? How long ago was this?
January
this year.
January of this year. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. And since January, how have you been feeling now?
Well, was feeling great. And
no medications.
yeah, had gotten off everything.
You know, everything before the treatment and hasn't been on anything since.
But we did have one hiccup. I started feeling like I was getting acid reflux.
Oh.
But it was like right here, you know, just right at the bottom of my throat. Okay, well, all right, we'll get scheduled to go get a scope done. And went and got a scope done. Oh, you're normal. Okay, well, a week or so later, they called and said, hey, let's do a stress test just to, rule this out. Okay, went and did stress tests. They said, yeah, we'll be in touch. Okay. An hour later, they got in touch with me. They said, you need to get to the ER. I'm like, what for? I said, you had a heart attack on the treadmill. No. I said, yeah, you had a heart attack on the treadmill.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
And told her, and so we went to the ER. That was a Wednesday or Thursday?
It was a Thursday.
It was a Thursday. Friday morning, they scheduled me to do stents.
No, Friday morning they scheduled you for a heart cath.
A heart cath, excuse me. Yeah.
And they said we'll probably do may do 1 or 2 stents.
And woke up from that, and I said, "Yeah, we didn't do stents." Okay, why not? Well, if we'd have tried them, we'd have killed you. We have to do open heart surgery.
Holy shit!
And I'm going,
5. He had a quintuple bypass.
Yeah, I was just having a little bit of what I thought was reflux. That's what it felt like.
We had just been on vacation.
Yeah.
Like, he had worked out at the gym 2 hours the day before. Like, by himself. Nobody was there. So it's a miracle he didn't have a heart attack there. Yeah. Now, we don't know. It was not related to the Ibogaine.
No.
At all. Yeah. I mean, it had nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
But he has a family history of it. I mean, but
the whole time it was.
But I think what you're getting at is during that time, it didn't, like, you had no issues with that, like the stress or the mental.
Yeah. Well,
portions of it.
Okay, yeah, you're fixing to have heart surgery. We're going to cut your chest open, all this other, Okay, this is scary as hell.
Yeah.
But all I could think of was, okay, this is going to suck getting over this. There was no, I just come to the Ibogaine, and I'm like, all right. I can't see God letting me go through that and feel so much better just to knock me in the dirt here.
Yeah.
And and like I said, I woke up from the heart surgery, and within a day, they started getting up and walking around, and
he's great.
yeah.
I mean, he's amazing.
Yeah.
But during that, like, there was no mental, like, we've had this conversation so much that, if he'd had it, if that would have happened prior to the Ibogaine, there's no telling where he would have been. Like, mentally, it probably would have took him off the ledge.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he dealt with it like a normal, patient probably would.
Yeah. So
Somebody.
like everything kind of worked out.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things, everything
Absolutely
worked out. It's kind of a
Yeah.
All right. And then, so how are you guys doing now?
fantastic.
Yeah, doing great.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah, no medications, no nothing. I mean, he literally, like, he went off of them 2 weeks before he went down.
Yeah.
And hasn't needed anything since then.
That is awesome. I'm so happy to hear that. Wow, you guys have been through a lot. You guys have been through a lot. Wow. And I mean, and during this process, right? Like, I'm sure there have been difficult times, and Cindy, you've mentioned those, right? Did those difficult times bring you guys closer together, or like, talk about that for a second?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that, we were so much older when we got together that, we were past the, shoulda, coulda, woulda kind of thing. Like, we knew what we knew. I think it's fair to say, like, we both knew what we wanted, and we weren't going to play games. And so I think that, like, it's always been what you see is what you get. You feel like that?
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, I think it brought both of us closer because we knew that, like, we were a team and we were a unit, and, we were our own unit.
Yeah. No, I love that. I'm so glad to hear that there's a positive ending to this story,
Yes.
right? And, like, now that you guys are doing good. No, I appreciate you guys sharing that. So, got a few more minutes here, but I do kind of want to ask,
Sure.
Ben, from your position, what is some advice that you would give to anybody in our military first responder community that is, whether still active or retired, but kind of in that slump with substance misuse and alcohol?
That you're not by yourself. There's always somebody you can talk to if you'll just accept it that I do need to talk to someone.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't have to be a therapist. I mean, it could be whoever. Just start getting it off your chest and getting it where it's out in the open for you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not telling someone else all your problems. It's making it visible for you to be able to say it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, I appreciate you sharing that. And then, Cindy, for you, the other side of things, right? Being a significant other, spouse of a service member, first responder, recognizing some of these signs of substance misuse, some depression going on. A lot of the times, that's why we see divorces and suicides, etc. What kind of advice would you give to the community?
I think just be open. I mean, it's here. Everybody in your family, somebody has it. You either know somebody, it's your parent, it's your sibling, it's your child, it's out there. And I think that there's so many people that are so afraid, like, it's been so taboo to talk about it, that, I don't know, call me. Like, I don't care, it's like, just like he said, just talk to somebody. Don't be so afraid to let it be known that you're human. Mm-hmm. You guys all come back, whether you're police, military, both, first responders. I mean, everybody has an issue, and you guys are all taught so hard to compartmentalize it and just shove it down, like, suck it up, move on. And, you can only suck up and move on for so long.
Yeah.
And then you crack. And, if you're on the verge of cracking or you are cracking, like, reach out to somebody because they do care. We don't need to go from 22 to 40 44. It's, there is somebody that out there that cares, and there's somebody that is willing to help you. Be it the Overwatch or anybody. Like, there's somebody there.
Yeah. No, I think that's great advice, and that's why we've tried to create a place where people can feel like they have somebody to listen to or somebody that they can reach out to, and we have our buddy program for that, which is great. There's over 30 people on there now with their photo, a bio, a podcast if we do it with them, and then an email address. And it's like, hey, you don't even have to contact the Overwatch Collective. You just reach out straight to them, and
Right.
and we've seen really good results with that. So I think it's both of you alluded to talking, getting it off your chest, and getting it out there. And it's sometimes that's just the most difficult thing, but I'm sure it feels great getting it off your chest, and that's the first step to hear yourself say those words and that you're having a difficult time with what you're doing probably helps.
Yeah, you have to look past the pride.
Yeah, which is difficult to do.
Absolutely.
But ultimately the last thing that we want is to go to another funeral from a death by suicide or live depressed for the rest of your life. Like that's the last thing that we want. So the way that we wrap up our episodes, so our motto at the Overwatch Collective is one more is one less, comes from an Army vet who lost more friends to suicide upon return stateside than actually overseas. So what we do is we ask our guests what one more is one less means to them. And that's how we wrap up our episodes. So whichever one of you, whoever's ready, take it away. But I would love to hear what one more is.
I just got elbowed. I guess that's me.
Yeah, I guess that's you. You're up.
I got the
nudge.
I mean, I guess the one more, one less for me, and I think maybe for us, is that, just the reason that we're here. We're here to get it out and let you know that it's okay. It's okay to have an addiction. It's okay to have all these things and talk about it and find a way to heal. Like, you can't heal without it. So, if we're one more person that's willing to share to make one less, death, then that's the whole reason we're here and sharing our story.
Yeah.
Yes, does it help both of us in some aspects? Yes, like to get it off our chest. But our main objective, and I think I'm going to say our main objective is that, if we can save one person, if you hear our story and it means something to you, I mean, here's my phone number, call me. Like, I will absolutely help you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Appreciate it. Ben?
The same thing. It's, I blindly stumbled into getting help, and it was a fluke. If I can personally help someone, amazing. If it's secondhand, like I learned through a podcast or a clip on whatever, that's even that's good too. It just, there's so many out that need this that any way that it can be spread out, it'd be just wonderful.
Yeah.
Can I throw one more thing in there real quick?
Yes, ma'am.
There is for somebody that is a veteran, this will only apply to a veteran, but if there's somebody that is interested in that treatment, there is a program that you can apply for because it is a financial commitment. But there is a program that does this as a nonprofit, and it's called VETS, VETS. Marcus and is it Ashley Capone? Amber Capone. They actually started this, and he was a Navy SEAL. But they help so many people per year, so many veterans per year actually go to that specific treatment facility and have this treatment like completely free. So, I just want to throw that out there. Like, if there's somebody that's thinking about it and they're like, oh, I can't do this because I can't afford it. There is a program. Like, don't let that steer you away.
Sweet. Yeah, I'll do some research on that, and I can throw that link in the podcast bio, and then kind of go from there. I appreciate you.
And you can I mean, I'm going to say this. You can throw our phone number in there. Yeah. If somebody wants to call us directly, that's fine.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do that, or your email address. We'll talk about it. We'll figure it out.
Sure.
And I think it'd be great to get you guys on our buddy program as well, but we could talk about that when we talk about that later on.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, that is literally right at the hour mark. That worked out perfect. But
Oh, wow, it is.
it is an hour, yeah. So I just want to say once again, just like how we started, I appreciate the both of you coming on, sharing. I know this is not an easy thing to do, to talk about like the darkest of times, but it's really cool to see now you're going up the roller coaster and things are doing well and you guys sticking together, and Cindy, you sticking with Ben through those challenging times, and now after getting the treatment, now things are doing well. You're able to do a podcast, and now you're able to advocate and be a resource for other people. So I applaud you. I like it means so much that you guys are willing to come on and share. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Of course. All right. And then everybody, I hope you enjoyed this episode, season 9, episode 6. It's going to drop literally tomorrow. I'm going to work on that tonight. So it'll drop right away. And then if you have any questions, you want to get in contact with Ben or Cindy, please let me know. We'll figure it out. I don't know if we're going to do number or email address in bio. And then we'll work on getting them on the buddy program. Cool. All righty. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Ben, thanks again for your service, brother.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.